school security, school safety, what to do about it in the face of so many tragedies in different places.
Well, should we allow for staff or faculty to carry a firearm? To me, that's a decision that should be made by each and every local school district in the state.
Which is what the law says now, correct?
That is what the law says, and that's why we push to give them that option. For me, I think that as we look at schools, said there's a problem that we have, that we put up these gun-free zones, just like in here tonight. When I walked in the building, I saw a sign that said, "No firearms allowed." Well, you know, I don't know if everybody in here has a gun or doesn't have a gun. But for me, that's one of the things, if somebody were to pull out a gun, who's going to stop them?
Don Johnson, the question of school security.
I was a deputy sheriff.
Where were you a deputy sheriff?
Richmond and Columbia County. That was my actual first adult job. I've been involved in shootings, and I can tell you they happen quickly, they happen in close quarters, and people are generally not prepared for them. What you don't realize is, and if you would like to attest to this, a lot of police miss a lot of the time. When you have adrenaline pumping and you are trained to do it, and it requires thousands of hours of training to make it muscle memory so you don't freeze in a situation, you know about your backstop, you know who's coming in to help, and you don't accidentally shoot people you don't mean to. When they have done active shooter trainings in schools with teachers with paintball guns, they more often than not shot other teachers, other students, and the law enforcement responding. So I am not comfortable with people who have trained to teach kids having to make the decision to take kids' lives in an instant in a situation that they are not trained to do. So it would make schools less safe by having people who aren't as familiar with firearms handling them in places that aren't meant for firearms. And you can make schools safer by increasing school security, by increasing the number of school resource officers, by increasing the amount of mental health counseling that students get so that kids early on can be identified as having behavioral issues. And a lot of times it's through isolation, and if teachers are trained to spot an isolated child or a child that is displaying mental health issues, you can intervene before they become a shooter.
And Senator, again, I think you wanted to rebuttal on that.
Thank you, Tim. If we could do a playback on that, because you find out that I said it's up to a school district to decide on faculty and staff. One of the things that when we look around, I visit a lot of different school systems. Said they, you know, if a school board decides, hey, we want to do this, said they could set the parameters on how much training an individual receives. I will tell you that I have been to a lot of schools where they have off-duty police officers that are working. Said there are individuals that are teaching in our schools that have come out of the law enforcement community. I would never be a proponent for sending somebody that's untrained or unqualified to carry a firearm in a school situation. Said, but I do want to have somebody that's there to react on that spur of the moment.
Staying on that subject of guns and education, let's move to higher education and the campus carry legislation. Senator, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I may be, but my memory is you voted for it. And you may have been the only member of the local legislative delegation to vote for it. Don Johnson, where would you have been on that?
Well, one, because the citizens didn't want it, I would have voted no. But second, the staff didn't want it at the school, the faculty didn't want it, other students didn't want it. We've had numerous guns, I think we're up to 3 or 4 now, left unattended, laying on a bench, left in a weight room by people who are carrying guns. Because guess what? They're also the same kids that we had to pass a rule that they can't cook roadkill outside their frat house. You know, they may not always have the best judgment, and when you put in youth with alcohol and close quarters, you are asking for problems. But you know, we go to school to teach kids. We should not be talking about guns and education as if they are intertwined. They have never been in our history. Why are they now? Kids should be free to go to school without fear of being shot in their seat or being shot by an angry classmate. I've had talked to students who were afraid to walk out on the National Walkout Day because they said so many students are armed. They are literally in fear on their own campus of their fellow classmates. And that is not the environment that we want to foster in schools, and that's not why people go to school. If you want to carry guns all day long, join law enforcement. They are happy to have you.
Senator Bean.